Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Footy Banter and Insights. And we are here to talk about the magic of the FA Cup. And I think before we start the discussion, it is evident in the fact that last season's winners Crystal Palace, they got knocked out by a non-league team which was 117 places below them, Macclesfield. And to make things even more interesting, the Macclesfield manager is Wayne Rooney's brother. And in a very big show of solidarity, the main forward of Macclesfield actually died in a car crash 2 weeks back. And they played this game through emotion and spirit, and they dedicated their win to him. So it was one of the upsets of the season by far. And like we say, the magic of the FA Cup is well and truly here. So,
Yes.
Varun, what was your view on the entire round of fixture?
Just the kind of games that you come across, right? Like the kind of so it's basically like in a true sense like a competition which is a giant killer kind of a thing, right? Like if you actually want to see a David and Goliath story, I think watch FA Cup and then I'm sure every round there's something or the other keeps happening on the similar lines. Another very interesting fixture was Wrexham versus Nottingham Forest. Again, a championship side beating a Premier League side. Not at the scale of Macclesfield and Crystal Palace, but again, a very interesting fixture. And another fixture that I actually liked was Newcastle versus Bournemouth, which again went into penalties, which went deep into penalties. I think like seventh or sixth or seventh penalty for each team. So I think some of the great fixtures. Apart from that, something like on the other hand, there were fixtures where Man City scored 10 goals, if I'm correct. Um,
Exeter City.
and yeah, I mean completely one-sided. So you get both the ends of the spectrum in FA Cup, right? Like so. Yeah. Another interesting fixture was United versus Brighton. So this is, I think, the last five fixtures or last four fixtures. This is the third time Brighton are beating United at Old Trafford. So
So Brighton have beaten United every year since 2020, 2021,
crazy,
22, 23, 24, 25, 26.
crazy. Yeah, I mean it's one of those stats, right? Like that are just thrown up. Like it's crazy, and I mean, of course, we'll deep dive into all of these. But yeah, some very very interesting fixtures.
So let's get into it. I think we can go through. So you already mentioned the Wrexham win versus Forest, and on penalties they won 4-3 after a 3-3 draw during normal time. Sunderland getting a win over Everton again on penalties. The Macclesfield versus Crystal Palace game was, I think, the highlight of this year, irrespective of whatever happens after this.
Yeah,
The Newcastle Bournemouth game was actually something that I watched very closely. Very interesting game. Bournemouth had so many chances to score, like
yeah,
literally Evan Nielsen missed so many chances, and I think Bournemouth should have killed off the game by the 85th minute. Unfortunately, they couldn't. And then again, who else but Harvey Barnes scores in the, I think, the 90th minute to take it to penalties. And in the penalties as well, it was very topsy turvy with both sets of keepers doing their jobs well. And then
yeah,
eventually Newcastle with the win.
yeah, yeah. No, but I think this went to extra time, right?
So how it works is 90 minutes draw, then it goes to
Yeah.
extra time and then to penalties. So
So
earlier
in
we
the
had
extra
the
time
FA
also
Cup
there was, if I remember correctly, there was a late
many.
equalizer in the extra time as
Yes,
well.
yes, yes, yes. Again, this time it was by Bournemouth.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Newcastle thought they had scored the winner, and then Bournemouth with the final kick of the game, they got a so the
yeah,
ball was played on the right hand side, and then he just poked it past the keeper.
yeah.
So. It was very interesting.
This
Like
is
if
this
we
was like a like one of those legendary cup ties
classic.
which goes like up and down like so often, right? Like at
No,
one
and for
point,
the audiences, like it was one of the best games for an audience to watch who has no affiliations with
skin in
either
the
club.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Like end of normal time, Bournemouth is winning. Newcastle scores a equalizer. End of extra time, Newcastle is winning. Bournemouth scores an equalizer, and then
Barnes
the
scored in the
penalty.
118th minute, and then Tavernier
Yeah,
scored in 128 plus two, which is literally the last
yeah,
minute of the game.
yeah. So a great game, a great game. Like according to me, again one of the tie matches of the weekend action.
For sure.
Um, Another interesting game was the Villa versus Spurs.
Yeah.
So I mean Villa I think are playing superb, yeah. Like it's they were in cruise control for most of the game. Before Spurs scored one goal, and in the last 10 to 15 minutes, it was a pretty interesting game where the crowd was actually backing Spurs to score an equalizer, but that couldn't happen. But again, like the way Villa was they played in the first half, in the start of the second half, that was superb. Like I mean, Morgan Rogers again a goal for him, great form, great feet, what a finish! Like so,
Even so, Buendia had scored one of the goals of the Premier League against Tottenham earlier this season. And again,
correct.
the goal that he scored, the second goal, if I'm not wrong, that was again a great team move. Like
Yeah,
passing
yeah,
from midfield to
yeah,
forward line and then the perfect through ball to him. And he takes a touch on his left and fires it across. So
yeah. Great, great. I think Villa is doing really, really well, as we have often discussed on our streams. Um, a quick point about Thomas Frank, he's under a lot of pressure. Like, at something needs to. I think something will happen at Spurs if the results don't improve. So I mean,
so we
probably
had,
another sacking on the cards in the Premier League.
yeah, it may very well be possible. Uh, I think the only thing which is keeping managers in their jobs right now is that everyone can see the table. So
Yeah,
unless they have a option wherein it'll significantly upgrade their squad immediately and the
yeah,
manager is willing to join immediately, I think they may just feel that okay, fine, let us give our manager another week, 2 weeks, a month to see how the progression happens.
yeah,
But
yeah,
more
yeah,
on that, I think the pressure started because Spurs had traveled away to Brentford, and
yeah.
Thomas Frank was seen holding a cup with an Arsenal
Arsenal
logo.
Cup. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was quite
and
funny, dude.
it was even more
Yeah,
funny because there were a lot of fans saying that what is Arsenal's name doing on a cup?
yeah. The question is, where did he get the cup?
That is a huge conspiracy. Some people are saying that he wanted to rile the crowd. Some people are saying that it was very accidental. Some people are saying that one of Thomas Frank's assistants played this prank. So it is like very too much conjecture over there without any facts, but all
If this
interesting
was
to
a
share.
prank by one of the assistants, then it was like crazy balls to do it, huh?
Yeah,
But yeah, probably it will cost them their jobs as well.
let's see.
Yeah,
By the way, Grimsby, after defeating United early on in the Carabao Cup, they also are through to the fourth round as well. So it'll be interesting to see who they get next.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
On the Chelsea Charlton game, so I watched this game completely. So it was one of the strangest lineup selections that I have seen from a first time Chelsea manager. This time, Rosenior was actually in the dugout. And when I saw this lineup, I was like, yeah, this is the worst lineup I can ever think of because it had Tosin uh, in, let's say, the back line along with Badiashile. And both of them have been our worst defenders by a mile. It had Buono Notte, who has really not done anything. And it had both Garnacho as well as Gittins, who essentially have been below par. and we were starting Mark Guiu, who's excellent at pressing, but he doesn't do much other than that. So when the team sheet came out, I was like, yeah, he is really pushing his luck with this lineup. When the game started for the first 45 minutes, honestly, there was nothing between the teams. In fact, Charlton started off on the front foot. They played really well for the first 10 minutes. They could have scored a couple, but they did not. Following that, Chelsea got in the game. Caicedo and Santos, they were controlling the middle. But if I actually analyze this game, there were at least seven passes which either the defenders or the midfielders had just handed over to Charlton. And any better side on their day, Charlton are 17th in the championship. So if it was a better side of the championship or Premier League quality, I think Chelsea could have been down 2 or 3 goals for sure. At the end of the first half, we saw first bit of quality from Chelsea, wherein Jorel Hato, who was playing like a inverted number 10, he got into the box and he scored a brilliant goal. And Jamie Gittins was lively throughout. Uh,
I think the timing of the first goal made all the difference.
Absolutely, I
Like,
completely agree.
because if, for example, Chelsea wouldn't have scored that goal before the end of the first half, right? Going into the halftime break would have been a completely different team talk. And on both the camps, for Charlton as well and for Chelsea as well. And then coming out would have been a completely different scenario for both the teams. Because after that, the floodgates opened in the second half. And I think that first goal was very important for Chelsea to score before the halftime.
Completely agree. Second half, a good delivery by Buonanotte. Tosin gets his head onto the ball 2-0. Charlton actually got back in the game at 2-1, and then there was a period wherein again there was a bit of nerves. Uh, Post that, I think Chelsea kind of finished the game off well. Giu got a good goal, and then Estebao and Enzo Fernandez, when they came on, they completely changed the game. So overall, a good first victory for Rosenior. In terms of tactics, it is similar to Maresca. I think he is not as tactically astute as Maresca, of course, but where he is trying to bridge the gap is that he focuses a lot on intensity. He focuses a lot on second balls. He focuses a lot on making sure that there's a reaction from the players if they lose the ball. So essentially, these are points which, if you are at your best in those things, it will give you that little bit of an edge when it comes to, let's say, getting a little bit extra output in terms of your attack. Because many times what happens is the bigger teams, especially when they play the so-called smaller clubs, there's a tendency to just pass sideways, wait for the ball to get to the, let's say, the byline, cross it inside, see what happens, try and give your through balls. But in this case, one thing was clear, that if there was any sort of droppage by the Chelsea players, then Rosinia was making sure that the player knew about it. So I think the Arsenal game would be interesting to see whether they keep this up. Honestly, when I saw this game from a tactical perspective as well as from a uh, play perspective, I really don't think that Chelsea have any chance against Arsenal. I think Arsenal are way superior to Chelsea right now in terms of their gameplay and in terms of their, let's say, how they are organized. So I would be very surprised if Chelsea even get a draw against Arsenal. But let's see. Like, you never say never in a cup draw, but there's a difference in terms of how the two teams are lining up right now.
Uh, just on that point, I want to highlight a couple of interesting fixtures in the next round. So
Hmm.
you have Liverpool Brighton, which is going to be a great game. Liverpool at home, and I think Newcastle and Aston Villa both have been really unlucky because they got a tough fixture in the third round,
Correct.
where Villa played Spurs and Newcastle played I think
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. And then again these two teams are playing each other in the next round. So yeah, these two I think will be the standout fixtures according to me in the next round of FA Cup.
And
Apart
there
from
is
that,
homecoming for Zosinho at Hull City as well.
yes, yes, that will be a interesting matchup as well. Honestly, I was pretty relieved that Arsenal are playing Wigan at home. That too, I
Yeah.
think it is an opportunity again to rotate the squad in these fixtures. So hopefully, I don't end up biting my words. But yeah,
No, I think Wigan are not doing that well, so I think it should be a clear win for
who
sure.
do Man City play?
Man City का आया नहीं है, so I think they must be playing the team which is like one of the winners of Salford or Swindon.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
And
Good.
Salford City will be interesting because they are United's rebel club, right? The class of
Yeah.
'92.
Correct. 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 So yeah, will be interesting. Fourth round of fixtures, middle of February. Again, adding to the number of fixtures that every team is playing. Another interesting point that has come out after the FA Cup action is that, and I don't know how much of this is true, is basically United hierarchy kind of um in the in the weekends that the FA Cup is there going forward. That is one weekend of Feb and one weekend of March. They are now planning to play friendly games in Saudi and Middle East
Oh,
uh, to kind of make some money, which probably could be more than what they could have earned in FA Cup.
by far, by far. I think
So monetarily, it's not as if monetarily, I think the money making machine at United would be happier. But of
no,
course,
even
you
from a player's perspective, warmer weather
warm
away
weather camp and all
from,
that. Yeah,
yeah. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and it'll be good for United to have a change away from Manchester, right? So
yeah,
on
yeah,
the whole, if
yeah,
let's say they get 5 million to 10 million per game, and
yeah.
like essentially for them it is like as good as qualifying for the group stages of the Champions League. Then
Correct, correct, correct. Which I don't, I don't know. I mean, could it be deliberate way of kind of
no,
getting the
no,
money, or I don't know. It's a speculation. It's like a
I highly doubt
wild
that.
wild hunt.
No, no, I highly doubt that any team would want to get out of the FA Cup to kind of get friendly matches, which is more lucrative because, like, I don't see teams doing that. I think based on the play as well, it didn't seem so. Didn't watch the entire game to be honest, but I watched a bit of it. Sesko took his goals well again. I think one goal he scored in this
Yeah,
game. He scored two
yeah,
over the weekend.
yeah,
Uh, and Welbeck's goal was superb. I think that finish into the top right corner was really, really good.
yeah. I mean, Welbeck. I United would be doing better with Welbeck as his as their striker.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been in good, really good form this season, by the way. Like, and his
true.
finishing is both right foot, left foot, both, and great at heading the ball as well, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's a complete package. Only thing is he's always
injury prone.
injury prone, and he's always been that striker who's not top drawer, right? He would always
Correct,
be one notch below. That's why he's not got the credit that he deserves, possibly. But
correct.
he
I
has a
think he
lot of
always had the
qualities.
potential. It's just the injuries
Yeah,
never allowed him to reach that potential. I think Fergie saw the potential in him. Wenger also saw the potential in him, but it was always one injury after the other that was kind of breaking his momentum. So yeah. But again, a rarity where a striker, you have a two-footed striker, and the and he's actually good at finishing with both his feet. It's not as if like his left feet is weak or something like that. Like, so over the weekend he did a left foot finish, right? It was really really good. So yeah, uh, great. Let's wrap it up. Any final comments?
no, I think Liverpool and Arsenal got the job done. I think in the Arsenal game, the Madueke penalty was, I think, the worst piece of play. Otherwise, overall, everyone did well. And I saw the highlights of the City game, and City were utterly dominant. Like 10-1
Yeah.
scoreline, but they was really dominant and great seeing Semenyo slotting in well immediately. I think the combination of Semenyo plus Haaland would be very interesting to watch going forward. And it
Yeah.
actually puts pressure on Doku because now he's got some serious competition, right? So
Yeah.
like now it's all about how City are able to utilize these guys to kind of keep the pressure on Arsenal. Because if they lose another couple of games before the end of Feb, I think it'll be too far for them then. So let's see.
I think Semenyo adds goals to the City's forward line. I think he will kind of help Haaland kind of in that respect.
He's
It's not
very
only hard.
different. He's very different because this is
No,
the
no, not
first
in
time
terms of
they've
his
had.
gameplay,
Hmm,
but just like another outlet for scoring goals,
correct.
for which they were highly dependent on Haaland.
Correct. But other than that, it's like this is the first time they've had such a direct player in their
Yeah.
ranks, I think, after a very long time because he
Yeah.
is not going to play those, cute passes. He's going to
Yeah.
be always on the back of the defender, trying to get behind him. And
Correct.
more often than not, when he gets behind the defender, he either opens up the channel to pass it to a forward or he's going to take a shot. And he's equally good at both feet again. So when you have such a
Correct.
presence over there, earlier teams could kind of wait for, Doku to kind of make some moves and then, it was a easier battle, I think. Now I think
Yeah.
it'll be more interesting.
Correct. Correct. Now they need to figure about their defense. I think that is one point that Man City needs to figure out in this Jan transfer window.
I think they've been linked to Gehi, but I doubt that he'll be joining them
Yeah.
because I think 40 million for 6 months out of contract is too much money. So I
And I
think
think the news is that I think Gehi prefers Arsenal over City. So I don't know. I don't know how much of that is true.
see Arsenal, even if he prefers Arsenal because of London, I really don't know where he would fit in, right? Because unless you are planning to sell Saliba, he
Ben
doesn't
White
really fit in.
is Ben White is going to move on.
But Ben White is primarily a right back, right? And Gehi is primarily a centre back.
Mascara is going to fill in for Ben White, and then Gehi is going to deputize for Saliba.
But being the England premier defender, would you
Yeah,
want to deputize for Saliba?
that's the catch basically. Is he open to that kind of a competition with Saliba, or does he kind of prefer to go at Liverpool or Man City where his starting is kind of
Yeah,
hundred
like I
percent secure?
honestly, if I was Gehi, I would pick Bayern. That would be a no-brainer for me because
Yeah,
Bayern are going to be having, let's say, opening as well because I think Upamecano may leave, and already we have seen Delit leave. So I think wahan pe they definitely have a gap. So I think that would be a
yeah,
better option for them.
correct. Great, great. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Do let us know what you thought about the FA Cup action over the weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.